Hey guys, welcome to the Skull Show. It's your host Paxton. It's been a while, but we're here back again with Jason, and a lot has happened since we last recorded. We lost Kirk Cousins actually, so that's something that's happened. Signed Aaron Jones, lost Neil Hunter, signed Jonathan Grenard, signed Andrew Van Ginkel. How would you feel about our offseason so far?
Nothing too surprising. Thought Kirk's contract was bigger than he was going to get, but that's fine. So not too surprised. I don't think Infant and the GM wanted Kirk from the get-go. So I think they were happy that he got a huge contract so they have an excuse to not sign him.
Yeah, definitely good. Like we're in a realm of unknown for the first time since a long time in the Vikings, and running back definitely upgraded. Defense, I think it got better even though we lost Daniil. We signed three guys who are probably add up to be equal to or better than Daniil, even though Daniil was a great player for so long. So we can get into some draft stuff. Obviously, the one thing of the offseason that I left out was the Vikings did trade for the 23rd pick from the Houston Texans. And that pick was actually used to trade Stephon Diggs. So quickly before we go on to quarterbacks, actually, he's a diva.
Oh yeah, most receivers are. Next in line is your guy JJ once he gets his big contract. So it's just par for the course.
Yeah.
Do you know? I got a tidbit for you. The Vikings could get the number 8 pick because the Falcons were tampering with Kirk Cousins. I don't think it'll happen, but there is a chance.
Unlikely. Pretty unlikely, but yeah, I definitely would take that.
Mike Florio from ProFootball.com or Talk is the one talking about it, but he just likes clickbait and likes drama. So I don't think it'll happen either. But
yeah. So have you? Do you know anything about the quarterbacks? Do you have any opinions? Start off with.
Well, I said to myself I'd be positive coming into the Skull Show today, but my gut wants me to say that whoever they pick will not be good, and whoever they pass will be Hall of Famer. I think that they are going to mortgage a lot of draft picks to move up to number 3 or 4 or 5, and I would not do that. It puts too much pressure on them to draft the right guy, and then if it puts too much pressure on whoever they draft. So what I would do is stand pat at 11, and if McCarthy falls to 11, I would take him, and if he doesn't, I would draft the best player in the draft. You should get a pretty good player because a lot of the quarterbacks are going to go high. And then at 23, I would draft one of the other quarterbacks like Penix or Bull, whatever his name is. I think they'll just have a higher opportunity to be successful being picked at 23 or 11 if McCarthy falls. But I think they're going to do the opposite. They're going to trade both picks and more picks for a top 5 pick. And I just don't like that.
Yeah, so my main opinion on the draft is to trust Kevin O'Connell, but I actually do like your scenario. That's probably what I would say is my favorite. I think that Penix actually might be one of the better QBs out of the draft. I think that he can stay healthy, which has been a problem for him in his career. However, he hasn't had a career-ending injury in 2 years, so that'll be good. I think obviously the best quarterback in this draft, although he could be a bust, is Caleb. Obviously you're not able to you can't not pick him just because of the threat that he's going to be a bust, because anybody can be a bust. So with that said, I think he is the best quarterback in the draft. However, I do think he has also probably the most bust upside. Would you agree with that?
Well, yeah, I've never been a big fan, but yeah, you probably have to draft him. But that's why I would just hold pat and not trade up, because any of these quarterbacks could be busts and any of them could be superstars. You just don't know. So why not just draft really good players? Because even if they get a good quarterback, they need good players around them. So I wouldn't get crazy and trade up. I would do what I just said and draft really good players and then draft a quarterback when it makes sense. But they'll do the opposite. They got their little spreadsheet out. They got their, they're in there. And it's like, oh, this guy's really good because the analytics say so. And then you could say, hey, have you ever watched him play? And the GM would be like, no, but Infant has, so it's fine.
We watched his combine in this pro day.
What?
We watched
Yeah,
the pro day.
useless. Just matters how they are on the field and between the lines in a game. The pro days is the dumbest thing ever.
Pro day and combines are so stupid. They're just.
Yep.
But it, like you said, anyone can be a bust. So actually, what I would prefer, I think, is maybe hear me out, trading back from 11 to like 16, drafting Michael Penix there, and maybe we get a third round pick back. So then we'll have an extra guy. We can maybe draft our wide receiver 3, and if we get a guy that's wide receiver 3, we will have. I'm pretty sure you could put you and me in if we find a solid wide receiver 3, say maybe current Adam Thielen level. We would probably put you and me in, and we'd be able to succeed to a certain level at quarterback. So then you go Penix 16 or something, wherever we trade back to, and then at 23 we go best player available defensively, and I think we're ready to go from there. A lot of good defensive prospects in this draft, such as Byron Murphy Jr. or the second actually. Byron Murphy Jr. is the Vikings corner. Players with that, maybe even the Iowa guy Cooper DeJean. So I don't know. I think you do trade back because, like you said, there's nobody that's a surefire. So I don't think it's worth trading up all your future stuff, all your future assets to get to a guy that has a little bit higher chance of succeeding. Because Penix could be just as good as any of the other guys up there. And still,
It's a crapshoot. So,
Yeah.
but they'll do the opposite. But I'd be fine trading down too. But I don't know. They're gonna go all in, I think, and trade up. But we'll see what happens. And then Jim Harbaugh's got it all figured out. Which don't remind me the Vikings passed up on Jim Harbaugh. But you got to build offense and defensive line. And so whoever they draft needs to be an offense or defensive lineman. Not even a cornerback. Take an offense or defensive lineman. Got to be strong up front.
You can go deep. Yeah, I agree with that. Offensive tackle we're perfectly fine on. So you go interior alignment. I don't think that's a first round thing, which is why I think you go D line. Like I said, Byron Murphy the second at Texas, and people of that, Gerard Verse, people like that. But also would be fine with quarterback. And so here's a hypothetical situation. Just completely reckless. This is not very much backed up on knowledge on this. But what would you feel about Vikings trading for a guy like Justin Herbert?
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed to it. I do think Herbert's a little overrated, but I do think they're going to do well with Harbaugh there because Harbaugh's going to leverage all their assets they have, including that high draft pick, to draft good linemen and put a good front offensive defensive lineman around him. And then if he doesn't win, then he's overrated. But if they do that, and there's a good chance that he could be very good. But I would rather trade for him, which again, I think there's a less than 1% chance, than the guy from Arizona. The guy from Arizona is a bum.
From Arizona?
Kyler Murray. Yeah, he's junk.
He's
a good. There's rumors of that, but.
Well, here's the thing with Herbert is that he is a much better player than Kyler, and in my opinion, going from Kyler. So basically, the Vikings, what they're doing in getting rid of Kirk is, along with the contract, they're saying, don't let good be the enemy of great, using that theory and saying that Kirk, he's good, but will Kirk ever win a Super Bowl? Do you think?
Probably not, but
yeah.
If he was on the right team, I just don't know if Atlanta's the right team.
Exactly. So if Kirk was on the Vikings, the answer would be no for 99% of people, and he's proven that in his years here. So I think that trading for Kyler Murray would put us in the exact same situation where he's definitely a good quarterback. He's not terrible, but he's definitely, I don't think, good enough to lead a team to a Super Bowl.
He likes to play video games, not study playbook.
Yeah, well, Kirk doesn't show up on Tuesdays either, so there's that.
Family day.
Well, when it comes to football, playing video games and family day are the same amount, even though one of them is definitely better as a human. One of them is definitely better as a human, but when it comes down to being a better football player, they're the same thing, I would say. But Yeah, I think that Kyler would literally just be putting ourselves back into the exact same situation as Kirk, and maybe even a little bit worse than Kirk. However, he is a lot younger. I think Herbert is a tier above both of those guys, and we haven't seen it yet, but that's just because he's had terrible coaching, and right now he has literally nobody at receiver. So
He
like
has
I
had
think he
terrible
can be a guy.
coaching, but
Yeah,
Kirko's had terrible defenses while he's been here.
it's
Terrible
true.
and terrible line until this year was decent.
Yeah,
I
he had a
actually
terrible.
Herbert and Cousins are similar.
Yeah,
Herbert's just
I
younger.
think that Herbert's. I think Herbert. Yeah, I think I put right now. I think Herbert and Kirk are similar. They have about the exact same contract. Although I put Herbert above just because he has like more potential. Obviously, Kirk's not going to get any better. Let's just put it that way. He's not. He could definitely lead Atlanta to the playoffs. I think they'll get to the playoffs. Maybe we're in a round or two, similar to the Timberwolves, but that's another story. They're. I
Timberwolves
don't
will
know.
not be winning around, I don't think. But I said that back in December. The West is stacked.
Yeah, if they play if and even if they beat the Suns, then they get to go to Denver. So not not too good, but
So they needed to win today, but they didn't, huh?
they did, yeah. And maybe they haven't come within 10 points of the Suns yet this year, and not one of those games have been competitive.
Not good. Not
However,
good. Good thing I was playing checkers in a barn instead of watching that game.
were you really?
No, I was at a barn. Quinn was riding horses, but I wasn't playing checkers.
Yeah. Okay. So I have a little sheet here. This goes over each of my opinions on each quarterback. Without I didn't have guys like Bo Nix or because I think he's a little bit too low for what the Vikings are going to do, or Caleb Williams because there's no chance the Vikings are touching Caleb Williams. The Bears have made it pretty obvious that they're staying at 1 and drafting Caleb Williams. So I have my thing about them, and then you can talk about this quarterback just as like not anything related to what we would have to give up to trade for him. We already said all of them could be bust, but so we'll start off with Jaden Daniels, who is a Heisman winner. He's 23 years old, and my current pick projection for him is 2 to the Commanders. Last year at LSU, his stats were about 4,000 yards. He had 3,800. 40 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and he had the best quarterback rating in all of college football. So definitely the stats look great for him. Age, he's a little bit up there. Everything other than that, he looks like a good option. He's a pretty accurate passer, definitely athletic. Pro comparison is a little bit worse scrambling wise than Lamar, but also a little bit better as a passer. Anything you want to say about Jaden Daniels?
He kind of reminds me of Tommy Kramer.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. It's a hard one to read. I think there's a very good chance he could be much better than Caleb Williams, but we'll have to see.
Mm-hmm. I think that he's probably my favorite quarterback in the draft. Would you agree?
I don't know about that. If the Vikings draft him, he'll be bad, but he might be good for Washington.
I would put it the other way around, actually. Vikings
I
definitely have a better situation.
I didn't watch him enough, but I do think there's a very good chance he's better than Caleb Williams.
Yeah. Next, we have J.J. McCarthy, obviously the national championship. He's an elite runner, probably the best in the draft, even though he's probably not as athletic laterally as some. He had a great running back core at Michigan, so the Vikings have a better running back core, but they weren't great last year. Obviously, Madison would not do it. He's only 21 years old. My current pick projection for him is 4, and I think that would be from a Vikings trade up. Stats last year, not too much to write home about. About exactly 3,000 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. I think that he can be a good quarterback, but I feel like he hasn't been asked to do things that you will definitely be asked to do at the NFL level, especially in offense as complex as Kevin's. So he's a tough one to read.
Yeah, I'm not a big stats guy. I'm a wins and losses guy, so I like that about him. He's won wherever he's played, but I do disagree though. I don't think the Vikings are going to trade up that high for him. I think if they trade up that high, they're going to get Drake May, and I think the jury's out on him. I just don't know enough about him other than he diced up the Gophers, but that's not saying much. And the Gophers were bad at that time at the beginning of the year, so I don't know. Again, it's a crapshoot. That's why I would stick at 11
Yeah.
or 23.
Next we have Drake May, good overall passer, probably the best accuracy in the draft. Has an amazing arm. He's 21 years old, and my current projection for him is third to the Patriots, which is again why I think we'd have to trade a Ford to get McCarthy. Otherwise, team like the Giants, Broncos, Raiders might jump us to get that. Last year for North Carolina, he had 3,600 yards, 24 touchdowns, 9 picks. So actually about pretty similar stats to McCarthy, a little bit more yards and touchdowns, but a lot more interceptions. Definitely airing the ball out a lot more, giving him more opportunities to fail. But I think that Drake May he's gonna be a little bit more of a project than the other guys, but he's definitely if he was on the Vikings, I think that's a good situation for him. Sitting behind Sam Darnold for a little bit, that might be a little bit rough for a few games, but I think it'll be worth it. And O'Connell's good coach, and Jefferson's good receiver, obviously.
Why'd you remind me of Sam Darnold? Now I got to go outside and throw up. Ugh, don't want to watch him play his single down. But what about this? What if the Patriots are like, oh man, Tom Brady, go blue, Michigan, and they draft JJ McCarthy because of
JJ McCarthy.
Blue. Yeah.
What about just Tom Brady himself? He's talking about unretirement again.
Oh, I'd take him.
Yeah. What if the Vikings take him over Sam Darnold and develop a guy like Drake May behind him? That would be a lot better than Sam Darnold.
That'd be awesome.
I think that you can't really be a bust sitting behind Tom Brady with Kevin O'Connell and the receiving core we have.
Kevin O'Connell was worse than Sam Darnold as a player. So those two together, oof.
But here's the difference between them. O'Connell failed as a pro because of his physical abilities, and Sam Darnold failed as a pro due to his mental abilities, which is why O'Connell's a coach and Darnold still trying to play. And age.
I just wish you wouldn't have reminded me about Sam Darnold.
Yeah. We'll get more into Darnold. Do you think O'Connell has any chance? I don't even think that you could get the best quarterback coach of all time. I don't think you got a chance with Darnold.
No, he's terrible. But he's just going to play a few games, and then they're going to get so annoyed that they're going to throw the rookie in right away. Probably too early.
Nick Mullins in.
Nick Cotton-headed Nitty Mullins, or whatever we call him. Is he back?
Technically, yeah, but they have the ability to get rid of him. I think their quarterback core next year will be Darnold, their rookie, and Jaren Hall. Which Jaren Hall, but
yeah, could be long year. But here's the good news: the Vikings either hit on a quarterback and they'll be good for 10 years, or they don't and they can fire Infant and the GM, and then they actually get real coach and real GM.
Real coach and a real GM. Okay.
So, not to get off track of the draft, but the GM's the real problem. That was a bad hire. And then Infant, he needs to be an offensive coordinator. I don't think he's a head coach. I think he'll be in the league for like 30 years and he'll win more Super Bowls, but it'll be as an offensive coordinator, not as a head coach. That's a bold take. Or what are you? Yeah, right. Bold prediction.
Yeah. That one I don't think we're going to count for putting on the board, only because this show is probably not going to last 30 more years in the future.
Well, that's a big disappointment. I signed a 30-year contract when I joined the Skull Show.
Did you? I don't know. I don't think we have any hired employees, and we haven't posted in a while, so we're back.
Probably lost some followers. Not good.
You actually want to update on that? I don't even think I've made a public statement about this, but hold on one second. Did you know that the Skull Show is at 1,000 subscribers?
Nice. If we're not to 10,000 by the week 8 of next year, that's a failure. So we're gonna have to pick up our game.
1,000 subscribers. We did it. Yeah. So hopefully this video will get out to more people. More people can hear our opinions. So the last quarterback we have before we get into our final announcement on the records for game prediction and bold predictions on the year, then we'll make 3 more bold predictions for the draft / rest of the off season. And then the next video that we probably make in this format where we make predictions will probably be before week 1. So
it'll be after the draft.
You really?
It'll
You
be.
want to do one? We
Oh
can do
yeah,
that.
there'll be there'll have
Oh
to be
yeah.
a draft recap.
Okay, yeah, we can do that.
And then there's got to be a schedule release, a skull show for what game we're going to
Oh
next
yeah,
year. So there's a couple more.
yeah.
That one can be quick.
Yep. So next quarterback in the final one we'll be looking at. There's obviously guys like Bo Nix and Spencer Rattler. If we take him, I just don't even know what to say. Then I'm definitely on the infant boat, and I will not refer to him as Kevin O'Connell if Spencer Rattler or Bo Nix is a quarterback in the future. But next up, we have Michael Penix Jr. He's a great deep ball passer. However, as you said, winning is your thing. He did absolutely fall apart in the national championship. He looked awful in that game.
Yeah, he got crushed by Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have I
very
mentioned that
athletic,
the Vikings
however.
could have hired Jim Harbaugh? Have I said that on the Skull Show before?
I don't think you have.
Okay.
Yeah. He's 24. Pretty old actually for a rookie. He's older than Justin Jefferson. He's had 4 season-ending injuries in his college career, which is why he's still 24 going into college.
Yeah, good.
Yep. Stats last year: 4,600 yards, 35 touchdowns, 9 picks. So pretty good stats. Definitely had a good receiving core last year with, is it Odunze for the Washington?
Sounds right.
Yeah, I haven't done much research into receivers because I'm pretty sure the Vikings are perfectly fine at receiver. But yeah, that's all I got about Michael Penix. So now we can get into our final recap of the standings last year. Should we start with game predictions or bold predictions?
Whatever. Game.
So this came down to the final week. We were tied going into week 18, and we never made a video.
Rigged. I bet it's rigged. Let's got to see here.
The percentages, because I did not do the percentages, just make it better. So coming in at 64.8%, we have Jason. And coming in at 64.6%, we have me. So I lose by 1 game. The whole season, tied going to week 18, I lost by 1 game.
Is that what it was?
That's what it was. So it all came down to week 18 where people were resting starters and stupid stuff like that. So, yeah.
Well, I did I did better research that week. I remember that week I was working the phones. I was talking to a lot of coaches and GMs around the league. And I had a pretty good idea of what was going on in terms of playing time. So that was, championships don't come easy. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of grind. And I remember that week. I don't think I slept more than 2 hours as I was preparing for the Skull Show predictions. So what an honor.
Well, it's not all good news. You might want to stop that speech because when we go to the bold predictions, it's kind of a domination. You were 23% with only 3 touchdowns. Remember, if you don't remember, touchdowns are like predictions that are above and beyond. They're kind of pretty unlikely to happen, but they do. So you had 3 of those, 23%, and I had 33%. So you beat me by 0.2% in game predictions, but I beat you by 10% in bold predictions. And I also had 2 more touchdowns with 5. The guests that we had on the show kind of got destroyed in both categories. I think that went down to Sam and Maddox. You weren't on with Sam. I think you were on with one Maddox. They were 48% for game predictions and 0% for bold predictions. So,
who's Sam?
My friend. So there's
we'll have
one
to get Sam on here one of these episodes with us.
Maybe.
The reason can I talk about my defeat in bold predictions real quick?
So yeah. Let me say one more thing.
Oh, go ahead.
There's only one more prediction still on the board, and that is of me saying the Vikings will draft a quarterback in the first round of this draft. Hi, Quinn.
Hi.
So the reason I lost bold predictions is because my predictions were more bold than yours. So they were, a little more aggressive, swinging for the fences, going for grand slams, things like that.
That is accurate. I am looking at you have a lot more touchdown predictions than me.
Yeah, see?
Comparatively.
And who do you think is going to win between the Packers and Vikings next year in Minneapolis?
Vikings.
Oh, nice. Who's going to win between the Packers and Vikings in Green Bay?
Vikings.
You heard it here. You heard it here first.
It's all
Um,
for Vikings.
Okay, I have two. I agree with you, Quinn. Although we always beat the Packers in a close game and then get crushed by them. So I don't know. I think the 1-1 is probably a safer prediction. However, I would definitely hope yours is right. I'd rather have that be right than anything else. I have two candidates for. I have two candidates for prediction of the year. One of them from each of us. So for you, it was. I forget which week it was. I'm pretty sure it was. It was a It was a week 8 Packers versus Vikings, the one that we went to, and the one the Vikings won. You said there would be. I'm pretty sure we made this prediction actually while waiting for a bus. Do you remember that outside of Lambeau Field?
Yep.
So you said there would be a non-quarterback to score 3 touchdowns, and you were correct. It was DeAndre Hopkins of the Titans. And then my uh, prediction of the year would be that this was made preseason, so before the Vikings Tampa Bay game. Detroit finishes 3rd in the NFC and advances to at least the divisional round.
That's what you said?
Yep.
Nice.
Both of those pretty good. Yours because that's just obscure thing to happen, and mine because it's oddly specific on the Detroit finishing 3rd and winning. So, you want to go first? You and Quinn make your first bold prediction.
We got to make a bold prediction. I can do it. I will say
Wait, what?
it's a prediction for the football season next
I
year.
don't
I'll
get
help
it.
you out. It's fine. So next year, the Detroit Lions, Dan Campbell led squad, Meathead, I think we call him. I can't remember. Mike Tice Jr., Tice 2.0. They will not make the playoffs next year.
Not make the playoffs next year. That is definitely bold. I'm gonna say, I'll write that down. My first one is going to be the Vikings will trade up and draft a quarterback. Not that I want it to happen, but I think that it will.
Okay, Quinn's gonna make our next one.
I don't get it though.
You got to predict something about the Viking season,
The Vikings win all year.
like the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Serious?
I'll put it under the.
Too
That-
many
if that
suckers, too much candy. Woo! All right, Quinn put it there. She stated it. That's her bold prediction.
All right, you want to make your second one?
The Vikings will they'll trade the 11th pick, the 23rd pick, and a first-round pick in 2026 to the Patriots for the number 3 overall pick, and then they'll draft Drake May.
Can I make another one?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna need to go through that again so I can type it. After
So
1 second,
Vikings
so-
will trade pick 11 and pick 23 this year, and their first-round pick in 2026 to the New England Football Patriots, and then they'll use that number 3 pick that they trade for Drake May. And that's what I don't want to have happen. Then there's going to be too much pressure on him, and it could go sideways. And then Quinn's got one more bold prediction as well.
That's definitely a touchdown
Packers
for you, by the way.
lose.
How many games? They play 17. How many will
They
they lose?
lose all the ones they go in.
17?
Yeah.
I don't think that's possible.
I think
When you-
it is.
Okay.
All right, so Packers go 0-17.
Yep, that one's Quinn's.
Yep. So she has 2 Hail Mary touchdown. Everything. If these happen, Quinn will get a whole episode for herself to celebrate these predictions coming true because these.
I
are
already
pretty
have a
accurate.
YouTube channel.
No, you get to have a whole episode on the Skull Show, which is Paxton's show, which is what we're on right now.
I still
With
have
1,000
my own YouTube channel.
Yeah, but this one has 1,000 subscribers, and you can shout out your own YouTube channel on there.
Oh,
It's
Christian's
all one
away.
for you. All right, you want to make your? Oh wait, I haven't made my second one yet. Okay, I'm gonna say that the Vikings will start Sam Darnold at least 5 games. So that's pretty far. I think it won't be that far, but it's my prediction. So that I can get away from the allegations of checking down all the time.
Nice.
All right.
Put your legs down. I want to sit on your lap.
When do you want to make your third prediction?
The Falcons will make the playoffs and win the NFC South with Kirk O'Chains as the quarterback.
All right. Quinn, do you want to make your third one?
The Vikings win and the Packers lose.
In their matchup together.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, do you want to say the Vikings will go undefeated versus Packers? Okay. Perfect. I hope that one happens too. All right, Jason, you want to make your
I did 3.
third one? Did you?
Yep.
Oh,
Kirkle.
yeah. Okay. What was your first one? You said that the Vikings will trade their picks for May. I thought
Yep.
that
And
was
then
your
the
first
first one was you might have to go check the footage. I can't remember what it was. Shoot. Oh, the Lions won't make the playoffs.
Oh, yep. Okay, not bad. I forgot that one. All right, and my final one will be that Justin Jefferson will sign a contract upwards of $150 million this offseason. And
No.
Is that because they lose or win?
no, that's good for everyone but Jason. I'm pretty sure most Vikings fans would like that.
Mm.
Do you like Justin
Look at
Jefferson?
pizza.
Do you like the gritty Quinn?
Dad, I'm trying to sit down.
In the freezer.
Awful.
I know. Hold on. All right. Is that a wrap on the school show today?
Yep. Any closing things you want to say?
I got taken over by Quinn here, so we'll talk after the draft for a post-draft recap.
Yep, sounds good.
All right.
See you guys next time on the school show. And
Later.
hopefully the
His head's
Timberwolves
no
don't.
longer in the making of this.
All right.
Hopefully the Timberwolves are still in the
Make
playoffs
sure
once
his
we
head's
record
no
our next
longer in
episode.
the making of this.
Sounds good.
See ya.
His head no